In 80 CE, Emperor Titus opened a building that had never existed before. The celebration lasted 100 days. Wild animals, flooded arena battles, gladiators, free entry for every Roman citizen. 50,000 people in a structure 2 football fields long, nearly as tall as the Statue of Liberty. History remembers it as the Colosseum. 2,000 years later, we are still trying to understand what it was. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. It really helps the channel grow. Saint Augustine tells the story of a man named Alypius who swore he would never watch the games. His friends dragged him in. The crowd erupted. Within moments, this principled man was on his feet, shouting with 50,000 strangers, intoxicated by something he could not name. The Colosseum did not just entertain, it transformed people. To understand why it was built, you have to understand the problem it was solving. By the 1st century CE, Rome held over 1 million people, the largest city on Earth. Most lived in dense apartment blocks with thin walls and constant fire risk. Between 25 and 40% of adult men had no steady work, surviving on subsidized grain that became a free monthly allowance for hundreds of thousands funded by the state. When shipments were delayed, riots followed immediately. The Emperor Claudius was nearly lynched during one such delay. What Juvenal called bread and circuses were not generosity, they were governance. The Colosseum was the most sophisticated instrument of all, but before the Colosseum, there was a lake. After the Great Fire of 64 CE, Emperor Nero seized the cleared land at Rome's heart and built the Domus Aurea, the Golden House, a private palace with an artificial lake at its center. He was declared a public enemy, fled, and took his own life. His successor, Vespasian, drained the lake and replaced it with an arena for 50,000 people, funded by the spoils of the Judean War, built by prisoners of that campaign. The message was explicit. The land that served one emperor's pleasure would now belong to the Roman people. Their enemies would build it, completed in under a decade. Propaganda from the first stone. The architecture was deliberate. The building sits at the intersection of Rome's palaces, working-class districts, and sacred spaces near the Forum. It rises from a natural bowl between 3 hills, so you always approach from above, the structure expanding until it fills your entire field of vision. 80 gates encircled the structure, an arrangement that felt democratic. It was not. The hierarchy was embedded in stone. 2 of the 4 main entrances were reserved for the emperor and the elite. Seating was legally assigned by class. The exterior declared this order architecturally. 3 stacked column orders, Doric, Ionic, Corinthian rise from base to crown, plain strength at the foundation, ornate complexity above. Roman social order made legible before you stepped inside. The Colosseum is not a circle but an ellipse, a deliberate choice. An ellipse has 2 focal points, creating natural narrative tension. The eye is pulled between the emperor's box and the arena floor. The gladiator enters, the crowd reacts, the emperor decides. Geometry made drama. Beneath the sand lay the hypogeum, a 2-level substructure added within a decade of the Colosseum's opening. Underground passages connected to surrounding buildings so gladiators and animals could enter unseen. More than 80 mechanical lifts raised props, animals, and fighters through trapdoors via capstan-driven pulleys operated by hundreds of workers. When the doors snapped open, creatures appeared from nowhere to a 1st century Roman. The effect was closer to sorcery than stagecraft. The arena could also be flooded. Rome's aqueducts, delivering nearly 150% more water per person than most modern cities receive today, using only gravity across tens of kilometers, could fill the arena floor for naval battle. Reenactments. The Colosseum could become whatever the production required. And then there is the question of what it did to the man who controlled it all. Marcus Aurelius hated the games. He would sit in the imperial box with a book, finding the spectacles barbaric. He cut back on them and redirected funds toward practical governance. The Roman public called him cold, stingy, un-Roman. His son Commodus restored the games immediately, then descended into the arena himself, fighting as a gladiator before crowds who worshipped him for it. The contrast reveals where the real power resided. Commanding 50,000 people, shifting a city's mood with a gesture. That kind of authority transforms whoever wields it. The Colosseum controlled the population. It may also have controlled the emperors. As the empire contracted and the revenue model funding the games grain and legions broke down, the spectacles only grew larger. Commodus staged massive hunts during fiscal crises. Caracalla funded festivals by debasing the currency and confiscating wealthy Romans' assets. The empire weakened, and those in power responded not with reform, but with larger productions, as if the arena would not permit any other answer. The Colosseum still stands, partially ruined, in the center of Rome. It draws millions of visitors a year and remains one of the most recognized structures on Earth. 14 centuries after the last gladiatorial contest, the building continues to perform its original function, shaping how we remember Rome. Not the grain shortages, not the apartment fires, not the unemployed millions, the emperors, the arenas, the conquests, exactly as intended. If this story resonated with you, consider leaving a comment below. We read everyone. And if you want to keep exploring history like this, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on. There's a lot more to come.